Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads, and it is finally game week. That's right, the Eagles play the next time we see Sunday, the next time it strikes 4:25 in the afternoon. We'll be getting our hands in the dirt and watching this team kick Bill Belichick's ass, because guess what? He's not that good without Tom Brady. Mac Jones stinks. That offensive line's going to get abused, and it'll be a blast to see this team win 13 games again, win 12 games, and dominate the NFC. So I want to ask all of you out there, and I put this on social media, two different things. Let me not get too sidetracked right from the start here. We'll begin with this. Are you nervous? Are you nervous to be that team? Are you afraid to be that squad? Because let's be honest, the season after they won the Super Bowl, everyone in the locker room said this was the best team on paper. This had more talent than the team to actually hoist the Lombardi trophy. And then, well, it was horrendous. This team and this organization seems to strive at times and take strides when they are the underdog, when nobody believes in them, when you count them out. That's sort of been their DNA for the most recent times. Are you okay with being the one in the crosshairs? Are you all right with everyone bringing the juice when they know they're playing you because you are one of the best teams in the league? I'm not afraid at all, and it's really because of one guy. His name happens to be Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts gives me the confidence that I need. He has a different way of thinking. Okay, he's wired in a way that maybe 0.05% of human beings are wired. His competitive nature is absurd. The way he thinks the game, the way he prepares for the game, the way that he gets everybody else motivated to do their jobs, you can't even process it. It's too good to be true. Why do I feel as great as I do as the top team? Because of Jalen Hurts. Why is Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs always involved? Because of Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. Now, I'm not saying Nick Sirianni is in the class of Andy Reid by any means, because his resume will wow you to death. But Jalen Hurts gives you the chance. Why is everybody so excited about the New York Jets? Aaron Rodgers. Why do you think the Cincinnati Bengals have a chance? Joe Burrow. Why were the Patriots magnificent and they no longer are? Tom Brady. When you have the guy, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, that's a team that everybody speaks highly of. Why? It happens to be one man, Josh Allen. And when you look at this NFC, I'm not saying the Eagles don't have to face anybody and there's no good teams at all in the NFC. I'm not saying that. There's way more talent at the quarterback position in the AFC. That doesn't take away from what the Eagles control, though. There's nothing you can do about that. Whatever the division is, the division is. Nobody ever says, well, Tom Brady technically had to play a piss-poor Buffalo team, an awful Miami Dolphins organization, and what else? Oh, yeah, the New York Jets. When was the last time they saw the postseason? That's what Tom Brady was up against nonstop in the AFC East. You cannot do anything about it. So I don't blame the Eagles for facing this team or seeing this squad or for the NFC not having some upper elite talent. Sorry. Who's the second best quarterback in this conference right now? Maybe Jared Goff. Once again, nothing you can do about it. Go take the football and dominate. Go be the MVP. Go be the stud. Go be the franchise QB that every team that doesn't have one dreams about. And they wake up in a big pile of drool because all they want is to have that in their locker room. We have it. So I'm not afraid for 1 second. Also, there's not many organizations that have a Jason Kelce, that have a Lane Johnson. And we're even learning Fletcher Cox has some of that in him. Because Tim McManus of ESPN, he put out a fantastic article. If you have not read, or if you have not checked it out, I absolutely suggest that you read it. And you should definitely consume it. But it's about Jalen Carter and what the Eagles went through leading up to the draft. And right before the draft, Jalen Carter, his camp made a call. And Howie Roseman was also a part of this, saying, you will not regret it. And that basically solidified that the Eagles will pounce. And I'm glad they did, because this dude is going to take over games. This guy will wreak havoc. He will get sacks. He will destroy you. And he'll put so much pressure on your offensive line and your quarterback, you won't know what to do. And then there's also Jordan Davis clogging stuff up. Fletcher Cox eating up a ton of space. Well, you hear Nolan Smith or Brandon Graham or Josh Sweat or, who was that? Oh, that's right. Hassan Reddick. Good luck. Good luck. They are going to eat you alive. It's going to be amazing. But they brought up in that piece that Fletcher Cox, during the offseason, he'd be calling Jalen Carter. Yo, what's your weight? Checking in, seeing how he's doing physically, seeing how he's doing with his body, knowing that there's one goal in mind. We're going to go win the championship. Say what you want about how hard it is to get back to the Super Bowl, especially after a loss. You're emotionally damaged. Well, no, go listen to what the leader's saying. It's time to flip the script. It's time. We got a game on Sunday. What happened in the past is irrelevant at this point. We play at 4:25 in the afternoon in Foxborough. It's time to start this new journey. We're about to hit a new path. I'm sure he wants it bad, and he'll use last year's loss as some sort of fuel, because that's what Jalen Hurts does. With that said, you have to find the balance of moving on. They're already moving on. And the way that they prepare and the way that they're focused on the goal, there was one time this offseason, and maybe it was just because it was the time of the year. I'll be completely honest with you. When it's the middle of the summer and you're talking Phillies every single day and the Sixers crap is all over and the Flyers draft is completed and you're in that ground of nothingness, you sometimes grab on to stuff, maybe a little too emotionally, because, well, what can we say about the Eagles? What can we dissect with this roster? What is there to discuss? And one of the things I brought up was constantly hearing or seeing that at camp, there was things mentioned about the Super Bowl, losing the Super Bowl, Nick Sirianni wearing something Super Bowl. Well, they always wanted to stress, get better every day. Each day you get 1% better. I was wondering, are they overstepping what they preached last year? And is that a bad thing? Are they jumping over the process of getting to the Super Bowl and just imagining the Super Bowl? Now, here's a counter to that. And that's how I felt in the summer. I no longer feel that way because I just know that Jalen Hurts. That's what it is. It really is. It really is that much of an easy answer for me. It's Jalen Hurts. There's only a handful of guys that I would put this much stock into. Dude's a different cat. So that puts you on an island, and it puts you on a totally different planet. You operate differently because of this guy. Nothing Dak Prescott's going to do with the Cowboys is going to scare you. They don't even know what's happening at quarterback. They don't even properly discuss things through the channels. Excuse me, we got who? Trey Lance? What? What's going on with this roster? Oh, well, maybe it's because all your quarterback does is throw interceptions. You turn the ball over way too much. Jalen Hurts doesn't. One of his best attributes and one of the best parts about his skill is he keeps the possession in your hands. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way very often. And if he does, it's probably Devontae Smith with a toe tapper by the sidelines. Or it's A.J. Brown with a big home run hit. Takes it to the house. It's a big splash on a 50-50 ball. Of course he comes up with it. It's just money. That's what Jalen Hurts does. Going back to this veteran leadership, though, it's not just Jalen. You also have, and I don't want to call it a luxury. It's rare to find this stuff, but it's not just Hurts. It's Jason Kelce. It's Lane Johnson. And while there was fear that they might skip some steps, the counter to that is, well, every year can be something different. You're now taking steps after last year's journey. You don't have to restart over and it be the same exact message at the start of the season. Now we've done more as a group. Now we've done more as a core. Because of that, we're at a different starting point. We started in a completely different role last year. Now we earn the respect that we got. We already earned it. Now you have to build off that respect and become more of a threat, more of a powerhouse. We need to now start poking the Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes thing a bit more by doing it consistently. Because you're always going to write the Kansas City Chiefs in, even with the Travis Kelce that gets nicked up right before the first game of the season. And I'm sure there's a lot of buzz being generated with the Detroit Lions now, because what's it going to look like without Travis Kelce? I'll tell you what it looks like. Pat Mahomes probably winning the damn football game. Or they start slow. I could see this happening too. We did this every year with Tom Brady. Oh, what's September look like? Oh, they're 2-2 in their first 4. Then in January, they have 2 losses total. All right, at the back end of the season, they got 3 total losses. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs either. Somehow, some way, when it's cold again and when it's the winter months and we're talking about Christmas time football, they'll be there. Their face will be there, and it's the Pat Mahomes show once again. We need to start earning that jump. They got some respect. Now they need to take the next leap. So the message doesn't need to be the same as it was last year. You have to tweak it. Those guys already heard that stuff last season. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's figure out this team and this core with some added pieces, different linebackers, Nakobe Dean sliding in, needing more from Jordan Davis. Reed Blankenship being the guy at safety, working in an Edmonds, working in a Sidney Brown. So there's some new faces in here that will change the brand a bit. And I think safety-wise, once you get Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown going downhill at the same time, that's going to be a force. And they'll probably be one of the most exciting parts of this team just because we love that. We love what that's all about. Hard-hitting, in-your-face. I just hope that he doesn't cross the line and he could be more controlled so we're not basically wasting our breath, similar to what we say with Derek Barnett nonstop. Because if we're being honest, Derek Barnett pisses us off. But he's always in your face and being annoying. He just takes it too far. Okay, so what I put out on Twitter, and I didn't even realize there's a hoodie hanging up on. Oh, go Birds! How about that? I wasn't planned at all. I forgot I had this hoodie hanging on my chair. I guess I'll keep it at this rate because of, well, why not? Go Birds. It's a great thing to say every single day. You know what cracks me up? We're such a different breed, and we always talk about it, and we always hear about it, and we always listen to callers and sports talk radio and all that stuff. We know how much we are in love with this football team. It never seems to amaze me, though, and I always do crack up inside, and you know that voice inside your head, you're like, oh, bro, it's amazing. It's beautiful that we're this way. I'll be in Wawa. Someone might recognize me. Hey, bros, what's up? Whatever. Hey, man, how's it going? Go Birds. Go Birds. They open up their Go Birds. And even if they don't even know who the hell I am, I'm just wearing an Eagles hat or I'm wearing an Eagles jersey, an Eagles shirt. Go Birds. Go Birds. The Go Birds thing is so real and so casual and so common. I laugh because I wonder, let's say you're from Louisiana and you're stopping at Wawa on a road trip through the states, okay? And you're driving through New Jersey, you park, you get your gas pumped for you. You're like, what the hell is this? I didn't know this even exists. Well, it exists here, and You know what? Here's a hot take for you for all you New Jerseyans, and I'm a South Jersey guy myself. I don't like having other people pump my gas. You're taking too fucking long, and I got shit to do. I need to get out real quick, bang, bang, bang. I could get it done within 10 seconds, and then I'm back on my way. But let's say you're from Louisiana, you're making this trip, you stop at Wawa, you need a cup of coffee, and then from there you see these two guys screaming "Go Birds" at each other's face when they're opening up the door instead of "Thank you." It's the best. It is literally the best thing in the world, and we're getting close to that point. And I recently had that happen to me, maybe 2 weeks ago. I remember the Wawa was at a different Wawa, one that I'm normally not at, around the Mount Laurel area. It threw me off guard, but I'm like, "Go Birds, baby." Amazing. Anyway, I tweeted this out. And I wanted to know what you think the Eagles' record is going to be, what you are most excited about, what you're most nervous about, and then a bold prediction for the season. So I'll read mine, and then we'll get to some of the Anytime Hotline calls and the Anytime Hotline text board as well. For me, I think they're going to get 12 wins. So they will be 12-5. I won't break down the whole win and loss thing. That's more of when the schedule releases and you just have fun, even though none of it matters whatsoever. I don't like to rip that apart because that's a part of the football season. That's a part of the 24/7, 365. And there is a day where you just nonchalantly have a couple cold ones and you rip through the schedule. Never works out whatsoever, but I see them going 5-1 in the division. But there is a very difficult stretch where you're seeing the Cowboys, you're seeing the Chiefs, you're seeing the Bills, you're seeing the 49ers, you're seeing the Cowboys, you're seeing the Seahawks in Seattle. That's a big point to note here. And yeah, I mean, that is definitely a nice window. In what week does that start? So you got week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a bye week involved. So around the week 10 range, this thing really starts to kick off, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but I see them at 12-5. And yeah, 13 wins would be magnificent. I don't know which games they're going to be. I could say, they're going to beat the Rams, and hey, they'll beat the Buccaneers, and they'll start off strong, maybe going 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. I could see them going 5-0. Maybe they have a hiccup along the way and they're 4-1 in their first 5, but I definitely see them winning 12 games at a minimum. What I'm most excited for, I don't want to bore you because I think I've pretty much stressed this enough. Jalen Hurts. There's nothing that makes me more pumped up than the way he carries himself and the way that he plays the game. I'm most excited for Jalen Hurts, and if you want to tie something a little different just to make it unique, him and his relationship with Brian Johnson and their ability to generate great offense and utilize a passing game out of the running backs and getting Swift involved in Penny. If he's able to stay healthy, he's no joke. He's a dog. He could do some damage with the football in his hands. So just the uniqueness of him and Brian Johnson and that relationship together as a tandem is my excited part of this season for me when projecting what to watch. And for nerves, it's the linebacker position. I don't know what Nakobe Dean is, and I think he's going to have some growing pains. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Quite frankly, that makes a lot of sense. But the linebacker position is not something that they generally value, and I don't have a problem with that if your roster is as strong as it is elsewhere. If there's one position that is weaker than others, that makes sense. If you have a lot of depth and a lot of strengths in your trenches and your linebacker play has a ceiling because of that, I can live with it as long as you show me a Hassan Reddick and a Josh Sweat and a Brandon Graham and then the level of what you got on the inside, the big meat in the defensive tackle positions. That's ridiculous. And if you have A.J. Brown and you're able to bring him in and give him a nice contract, and you look at Devontae Smith and you have all this other talent and the linebacker takes a hit, although Devontae Smith being drafted, different spot than where financially A.J. Brown is at in his career. I just think it's important to note that there will be some positions that you don't put as much money into when you look at utilizing your salary cap, and the linebacker is that position, so that's where I'm a bit nervous. But all around, there's so much great talent elsewhere that I still think that they'll be fine and win 12 games, win 13 games with that deficiency. There'll be some growing pains, and last year I didn't expect Kaiser White and TJ Edwards to have their respected seasons, so maybe somebody does pop off and be that guy, and we'll see. We'll find out. But for me, that's what my answer is. I was going back and forth between that and special teams. You did take some hits with your special teams. Some of the guys that play a lot, Sean Bradley and Zach McPherson. So there were a few guys that are out now for the rest of the season. They ate up a lot of space for you, a lot of snaps in the special teams unit. So something to note. But I'm going linebackers. And then my bold statement, and there might be bolder out there. It's not like it's the most hottest take you'll ever hear. But I think Brandon Graham gets double-digit sacks again. Double-digit sacks again for Brandon Graham will be my bold statement. It's funny. You know how TikTok is, right? TikTok is probably one of the most absurd places in the world for comments and things of that nature. Not too long ago, I asked everybody what their boldest predictions were, and some of the answers were pretty good. Someone said Jalen Hurts winning MVP. That ain't bold, bro. I think that's actually going to happen. Jason Kelce scores a touchdown was the most liked on the TikTok. That's pretty good. I like that one. Nolan Smith with 9 sacks. Okay. Kenneth Gainwell has the most total yards out of the running backs. That's from Dante. Bobby had the Nolan Smith one. And Jesse had the Kelce touchdown. Just want to give everybody their respected dues. Patrick says that Quez is going to have 750 yards and 7 touchdowns this season. So just to look up Quez Watkins and his stats from last year, and I expect Quez Watkins to be better this season. I do. I think that he can carry himself well and respond because, well, Jalen Hurts will help him do that. That's right. I'm going back to Jalen Hurts. Last year, he had 354 yards total with 3 touchdowns. The year before, he had 650 yards. He only had 1 touchdown that season. That's a bold statement for Quez Watkins because that means Dallas Goedert. So you're impacting the offense by adding running backs that can be threats in the passing game. You also have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and you have Dallas Goedert. So you're adding more in the passing game, but Quez Watkins pops off. It'll be fascinating. I hope you're right. Devontae Smith gets more yards than A.J. Brown. 17-0, says Frank. BG, MVP of the Super Bowl. That's from Anthony. All right. Quez Watkins reaches 1,000 yards. Sheesh. That's wild, boys. That's wild. I did say bold, though. Okay. That's where we're at. And then, of course, one of them says, I don't care what we do this season as long as we beat the Cowboys twice. Well, you know that's going to be a comment that we live with for the rest of our lives. Hey, if we went 15-2, and those 2 losses happen to be against the Dallas Cowboys, I'll take that any day of the week. You heard me. I'll take that any day of the week. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline and hear some of the answers to what I just provided, and we'll react. And I screwed up because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let's redo this and start off this call. Here we go.
Hey, bros. My name's Levi. I'm a long-time listener and fan of your show. Thank you for everything, all the content you put out for us. I think the Eagles are going to go either 12-5 or 13-4 this year. I expect a very strong season from Jalen Hurts. I expect them to just keep silencing the doubters. I'm most excited for DeAndre Swift and that rushing attack. I think we're going to take a step forward from last year's rushing attack, especially if Swift can stay healthy. And I think Penny is going to surprise some people. What I'm most nervous about is that 4 or 5 game stretch where we've got the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Bills. I think we win. I think we at least win 2 of those 3 of the 5, or maybe even 4 out of 5. My bold prediction is that Jalen Carter is Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for the kind words and taking the time out to call in. Fantastic call. A lot of good things to chew on there. Jalen Carter is going to take the league over. He has that much skill. He's got that much fight in him. His raw natural ability and the fact that I think it's very important that someone like Fletcher has the offseason that he had with him because it sets a tone nice and early that this is the way you have to think. Now, I didn't believe for any reason that Jalen Carter thought that this would be easy or wouldn't put in the work or didn't think of this as a super intense job or he has to put 1,000% into it. By no means did I feel that way at all. But I do think that there's so much tremendous value when Fletcher Cox, someone who has this type of resume and this type of pedigree in the league, and you see Elaine Johnson and you see what it's like to work out in his barn and you see the way that everybody goes through their job at this level. Yeah, you could go win an national championship and work with Kirby Smart and Georgia. The way they handle their football business down there is ran like an NFL program, I'm sure, but then multiply it by 10 and then that's the actual NFL. It is a different beast because you're taking away and plugging all the best of the best of the best of the best that you played in college. Now they're all together. Everyone has that drive for the most part, right? All the top echelon guys have that drive to be in that position, and you have to match that and some. And for Fletcher Cox, right off the rip, before you even get it rolling with your first season in an Eagles uniform, this is the standard. I'm setting the precedent here. We got you. We're excited for you. You're going to be a beast. Listen to me. I played this position a long time. This is Fletcher speaking, not Broads. Okay, this is Fletch. Played in this league, seen it all, watched the best. You could be that and some. What's your weight like? Don't mess around. Don't be playing any games. We know what you said to Howie Roseman and some of the Eagles' top people in the organization. You won't regret it. Well, you better pay up to that. What are you weighing? Can't be playing any games this offseason. We're trying to win a championship. We want to win a Super Bowl. You can't drag us down. Now, it's not with that level of intensity or that angle or that harshness. I think maybe I drifted into it got a little like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? No, it wasn't. That's me just not actually being in that position before, so I'm just rambling. I apologize. I love that Fletcher Cox is talking to Jalen Carter, though, making sure his head's on straight. Just from a young player level. It could be Nolan Smith. It could be Brandon Graham taking Nolan Smith under his wing, and he seems to be a sponge willing to soak it all in. Same with Nakobe Dean on the sidelines last year, foaming out the mouth with hunger, wanting to be on that field. Think about how long it felt. Think about how that season was forever, and they make it to the Super Bowl extra weeks and the final game of the year, and you're Nakobe Dean, and all you want to do is play, and you think about what you were going through all that time, because it's not easy. You go from being the guy and you go from playing behind Jordan Davis to sitting on the sidelines and watching and seeing your team have so much success. You want to think of the long term, but it bites you. It really does. It kills you. It eats you alive inside because you're a competitor and you want to go do that for your team. You see TJ Edwards and you say, I could do that too, coach. You see Kaiser White and you say, I could do that too, coach. And now Nakobe Dean gets slotted in there. Doesn't matter who the young one is. It could be any young player. I love the way this team holds everybody accountable from within. There's not a lot of pressure on the head coach to have to play that side of it because you have it already fixing itself or holding everybody accountable the right way. But anyway, the rushing will be fun. I'm excited to see the run game. I want to see Jalen Hurts continue to be a threat with his legs as well. I want it because that's what makes you a demon. That's what makes this offense so hard to stop. I don't want to make it easier for any defensive coordinator. So get into the red zone, punch it in a billion times, score a bunch with your legs. I love it. Sign me up. Next call. Next call. Dude, I'm terrible at my job. I am not good at my job. Let's do it.
What's going on, Hunter? Things I'm most excited about for the Eagles season. I'll say this answer also falls under a category of something that I'm most worried about, and that's Sean Desai. I'm excited to see his defense, but we don't really know until we see it in game action what it is and how it's going to look. I mean, hopefully he's not as passive as Gannon was, but again, until he's out on the field on Sunday, I mean, we're not going to see it until then, so we really don't know. It's all speculation. The thing that I'm most nervous about, though, is injury. Last year was such a missed opportunity to win the Super Bowl. That team was ungodly healthy for the most part. This year we've played 3 preseason games and already have 2 season-ending injuries. Probably going to have more as the year progresses. So injuries are the great equalizer. That is what I'm most nervous about.
Sean, that's an excellent point. It really is. That's probably the best point that anybody could bring up in regards to fear, because what happened last year is impossible. To be that healthy, to have that many starters, for everyone to be available, it's absurd. It's just not something that you could really envision, and it's not something that you can duplicate. And they say over a 5-year span or over a couple-year window that injuries will work out, meaning, or play itself out. If 1 year you're super banged up, there's a year where you're super healthy. And if you're super healthy 1 year, you're super banged up. And over a 5 years span, each team will be in a very similar area with the injuries from a total grand scheme of things here. And I don't know what that means. Maybe that means 2 years from now, you're banged up extremely. And these 2 years, you have a ton of health luck. It could be anything. I don't know. But yes, injuries for sure. Staying upright as long as they did, for as many bodies as they did, to have that many starters available for you in the Super Bowl, it doesn't make sense. That's why it kills me that you didn't win. At the same time, though, here's devil's advocate. Well, that means the Kansas City Chiefs were not as healthy, and it definitely wasn't the case for the ankle of Pat Mahomes. They won the Super Bowl. So the team that wasn't as healthy as the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean I want to be in that position at all. Just gives you some perspective that doesn't rule anything out. With Sean Desai, I think there's some things I'm very intrigued by. He also threw a ton of wild card stuff out there. Bradbury not playing on the outside. Guys dropping back as a defensive end, dropping back and in coverage with some guys. And you go, all right, is that something we're going to do? We saw Jonathan Gannon do that. I almost forgot his name because, well, Jonathan Gannon. Everybody saw that video, right? My guy Ant from California, he texted into the text board with his answers, and what he said he's nervous about is for opponents riding the fire belly bus to work. He's taking jabs at Jonathan Gannon. Come on, man. He believes that they're going to be 11-13 win range. Defensive line rotations is what he's excited for on top of the running back stuff, but he's nervous for opponents riding the fire belly bus to work. Do I end this pod on a possible audio cut from Jonathan Gannon? Maybe I will. I feel bad because we're 32 minutes in and I only got the 2 calls. So I'm a horrible human being. This is normally what happens, though, when I start to ramble. Let's go to Gannon. Let's listen to this. 37 seconds. It cracks me up every time. We deserve this type of stuff because this guy is a fraud. Let's run it.
Welcome back. Who drove over here? Wait, let me see your hands. Who took the bus? Did you have fire in your gut? Did you? We're here for a reason. Don't get that twisted, okay? We're here for a reason to win games. So if you didn't have that fire in your gut, you better light the fire pretty fast. Be who you are. Just understand, I'm looking for killers.
Oh, you should see the look on the faces of these guys in the chairs watching them. What a clown. All right, fellas, I love you to death. Go Birds. It's Eagles game week, boys. All right? Do you know what that means? I know you know what that means. It's Eagles game week. We'll be talking very soon. Damn it. All right? Very, very soon. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you on the next one.